Hello, everyone, and welcome to Battle of the Beast Transformation Takedown, episode number 27. I'm Adam, and today we are now in the semi finals of Battle of the Beast Series 6. 26 battles in ago, I started this tournament, and we started with 30, and now we're down to 4. 2 battles are left in this round, where only 2 will remain, and they will be our finalists for this tournament. So, out of all the 4 beasts which are left, 3 of them are from the same series. So, yeah, like in the last round, you guys are on your own. You guys are fighting each other. So, yeah. Let's introduce the beasts participating in the first battle of the semi-finals. Representing Series 10, Master of the Beast, the killer of Kroko, Father of Fear. In round 2, in round 1. In round 2, the killer of Spikefin, the Water King. And in round 3, the killer of Selkara, Monster of the Depths. We have Tecton, the Armored Giant, otherwise known as the White Knight of Auton, with the flail, the trident, and the rope. And his opponent, also from Series 10, Master of the Beasts, the killer of Makoro the Blinded Stinger in round 1, Craigston Kildor the Two-Headed Demon in round 2, and Shamani the Raging Flame in round 3. This beast has really surprised me and has probably solidified himself as the underdog of this series because I was not expecting him to make it to the semi-finals, unlike the other 4 beasts, unlike the other 3 beasts. So let's introduce Doomskull, the King of Fear, otherwise known as the Golden Knight of Auton with the daggers. So yeah, Tecton versus Doomskull is the first battle of this round, and quite frankly, what a matchup this is. Yeah, I was not expecting this matchup to happen because I actually no, I'm kind of glad this matchup happened because it's not my predictive finale matchup, and same with the next one, it's not my predictive finale matchup as well. So depending how it goes, I might have my dream come true of a predictive finale matchup, and I really hope it does. Because at the end of round 1, I saw these 15 beasts left, and I was like, I reckon you and you are going to be the final 2. And those 2 are still in the tournament. And one of them is battling in this battle, and the other one is battling in the next one. I really hope they make it into the finals, because then I'll be correct on something. But yeah, Tecton and Doomskull. I need to know more about these beasts before we get into this. But yeah, let's get to the stats, and then I can learn about these 2 incredible beasts. Tecton the Armored Giant. Tecton is an ancient beast, once defeated by the White Knight of Auton. With 4 powerful legs, his body is covered in a thick hide of overlapping armor plates, bristling with spikes. His short legs don't stop him from moving quickly. Tecton has a different method of chasing his prey. He can curl into a ball like a giant hedgehog and roll across the ground to crush his victims. Age 323, power 208, magic level 132, fright factor 78, size 304. Powers and abilities, natural weaponry. Let's move that aside so then we can. Yeah, powers and abilities, natural weaponry and spike projectiles, natural armor, ball form, enhanced speed and cold resistance, as well as the ability to transform to and from the White Knight of Auton at will. Weaknesses, pierceable shell, dentable shell, and removable shell. Doomskull, the King of Fear. Doomskull's most unnerving features are his eye sockets, which are completely empty. The beast invades the nightmares of all who are unfortunate enough to gaze upon him. He looks like a lion made of stone, but up close his victims can see his rippling muscles and saber-toothed fangs. Age 339, power 222, magic level 141, fright factor 83, size 150. Powers and abilities, fire main, natural weaponry, and nightmare manipulation, or in this case it's fear embodiment, I'm going to call it. So pretty much just by staring at this beast, his opponents feel fear when seeing this beast, which is understandable. He has a skull for a face, come on, and his head is on fire. Weaknesses is a pierceable body, as well as the ability to transform to and from the Golden Knight of Auton at will. I keep forgetting to say that, but there we go. Moving on. Okay, so he's done the stats department for Tecton the Armored Giant and Doomskull the King of Fear. And with that, the battlefield is going to be the Forest Arena, and then let's get into this. As the chamber doors open, both beasts exit from their chambers as, well, Doomskull as his night form as he wanders into the canopy around him before being shrouded under the forest trees where the spectators can't see. At first, the White Knight comes out of the chamber, stares at the arena, and decides, let's steamroll this. He instantly grows into Tecton before roaring into the arena and curling up into a ball and charging right into the forest. Right as Tecton's about to roll into the Golden Knight of Forton, the knight instantly turns into Doomskull and, using the power of his fists or claws, just whacks Tecton away, spinning him round in a continuous circle into the side of the arena before Tecton just rolls around the whole arena multiple times, creating a black ring going that fast around the arena. Doomskull sees this ring through the tree trunk, through the forest, seeing it go round and round and round and round. Doomskull stays focused though and refuses to lose concentration, and just stares at one point of where Tecton is. Not daring to move though, he just waits for Tecton to make a move. And right when Tecton does, he stops right behind Doomskull and charges forwards towards Doomskull. Doomskull hears the rumbling of the trees being knocked down. He dives aside just in time for Tecton to roll right past him. And Doomskull runs alongside Tecton. And right when Tecton decides to turn to run over Doomskull, Doomskull stops and stands on his hind legs and pushes Tecton into the wall of the arena. Doomskull leaning against Tecton, forcing him into the wall of the arena, forcing Tecton to come to a complete stop. Tecton uncurls himself, lifts up his claw, and slashes right down towards Doomskull. Doomskull flips backwards to avoid that slash and slashes right back at him. But the slash just bounced off Tecton's armor on his shoulder. Tecton roars in his face, whilst Doomskull just roars right back. Tecton feels a bit twinge of fear from the roar from Doomskull. Doomskull goes to snap at Tecton's claw, impales his flesh. Tecton roars in pain before lifting his claw and slamming Doomskull into the ground. Doomskull lets go and retreats into the forest, reversing back to his night form, hiding behind a tree. Tecton just laughs and rolls into his ball again and charges into the forest. As Tecton's about to roll into the tree that Doomskull was hiding behind, the Golden Knight climbs up the tree using his knives as daggers as support to get up to the tree. As the tree gets knocked over, the knight goes flying before turning into Doomskull and, using his claws, slams them right onto the top of Tecton's armor body. And right on the joint where the head and the tail meet, that's where Doomskull lands. Not wanting to be outdone, Doomskull digs his claws into that separation and just pry Tecton open, making Tecton come to a complete stop before unrolling, slamming Doomskull onto the ground as he had a grip on his tail. And Doomskull quickly gets a hold of himself, runs along Tecton's back as Tecton's trying to shake him off. Doomskull running along the back with his claws, pulling up the spines coming out of Tecton's body. Or back, sorry. And then comes to Tecton's face, slashes right at the forehead before somersaulting off of Tecton's head and landing right in front of him, growling at him. Tecton takes a step back in fear, but realizes he has the size advantage. He lifts up his claw and slashes it right down towards Doomskull, intentionally missing, slamming the ground right in front of him, creating a dirt cloud to appear because of the force of it. Hits the dirt and dirt cloud, yes. Doomskull stays where he is, knowing he's illuminated from his fiery mane. He reverts back to his night form to not be seen as easily. Doomskull just rolls into his ball and charges up, rolls into the dirt cloud. The Golden Knight, realizing this, dives aside just in time before Tecton attacks, and then Tecton just disappears. The dirt cloud's still there. The Golden Knight can't see anything, but Tecton has reverted back to his White Knight form, grabs onto his rope with the rock at the end, and throws it towards the Golden Knight, wrapping around the Golden Knight's body, hitting the Golden Knight in the head with the rock, and the White Knight just pulls the Golden Knight in. The Golden Knight can't use his daggers to try and reach at the rope to try and cut it. So as the White Knights pull in the Golden Knight in, the Golden Knight instantly turns into Doomskull and charges up towards where the White Knight where the rope ends, meeting at the White Knight. He roars in the White Knight's face. The White Knight, showing no fear, just uppercuts Doomskull, knocking him back. And then he pulls out the trident and just prods it towards Doomskull, trying to attempt to back away. Doomskull just laughs and just waits for the White Knight to prod Doomskull with the trident again. Doomskull just bites into the trident and rips it out of the White Knight's hands and throws it to the other end of the arena before growling at him. The White Knight, completely unfazed by this, picks up his lance and stabs it towards Doomskull, hits him right in the shoulder, the lance actually penetrating his shoulder. Doomskull roars at this and bites onto the lance, breaking it instantly. And then he charges up towards the White Knight, ready to just crisscross attack with his claws on him. The White Knight, not trying to show any fear here, although he's feeling the fear, quickly turns into Tecton, and Tecton's back defends him from those claws, which just leave gash marks on the shell. Tecton then instantly lifts up his claw and slams it right down onto Doomskull's paw, crushing Doomskull's paw. Doomskull roars in pain over this and bites onto Tecton's wrist. Tecton tries to shake his claw free to get Doomskull off, and eventually Doomskull does go off, flying into the wall of the arena. Tecton, not giving Doomskull a chance to breathe, rolls into a ball and charges up towards Doomskull. Doomskull just regains himself and sees this and charges up towards Tecton, not showing the fear which he's trying to embody into Tecton, before using his head and just slamming it right into the ball of Tecton. The ball goes flying backwards into the wall of the arena. Tecton goes along with it, bounces off the wall, coming right back towards Doomskull with just increased speed. Doomskull quickly jumps out of the way as Tecton hits another wall, bounces back, coming towards Doomskull again, so on and so forth. Tecton bouncing off the walls at very increased speed. Doomskull dodging each one, just trying to get out of the way. The forest is completely destroyed at this point, getting crushed by Tecton's ball form. Splinters are flying everywhere. Doomskull's landing on the splinters, just not trying to feel the pain from them, although he now has wood stuck everywhere in him, and same with Tecton as well. Eventually, Tecton comes to a stop and lifting up both his claws or paws at the front, brings them right down onto the ground, creating another dust cloud. Doomskull, staying as Doomskull's form, just stays in the dust cloud in one spot. As the Tecton reverts back to the White Knight form, he sneaks around through the dirt cloud, trying not to be seen by Doomskull, who is very carefully examining the arena. The White Knight then charges up behind Doomskull, jumps and lands directly on Doomskull's body, grabbing onto the chain that's connected around his head, pulling on it, pulling Doomskull's claws up. Doomskull rears up, trying to shake the White Knight off, but the White Knight's not having it. He's literally right on top of Doomskull, trying to tame this beast like a wild bull ride. The Doomskull's running around the arena, trying to shake the White Knight off, slamming himself into the wall of the arena. The White Knight still standing firm, using his fist, punching down on the head, going right into the fire, not showing any fear whatsoever, punching the fire, trying to hitting Doomskull's head. Doomskull then uses his tail to try and wrap around the Knight's body. The Knight grabs the tail that's wrapped around his body and yanks on it, pulling Doomskull forward. And the Knight says, "No, not going to work like that, are we?" Doomskull then tries to slam himself right into the wall of the arena, where the White Knight feels the pain but doesn't let go. As Doomskull's about to slam his entire back into the wall of the arena, the White Knight knows that he's in trouble if he gets hit by that again. He then turns into Tecton. Doomskull instantly gets crushed towards the ground as the whole body of Tecton is on top of Doomskull. And where's the chain that's around Doomskull's neck? It's only in Tecton's mouth. Tecton then gets off of Doomskull with the chain still in his mouth and hoists his entire body up, standing on his hind legs, hanging Doomskull by his claws at the front. Doomskull's trying to shake himself free, but he can't get out. He's trying to use his claws to slash at the chain, but because of the angle, he can't reach. He's being hoisted up into the air by Tecton's incredible size. Tecton then swings his head around and slams Doomskull into the wall of the arena. In a what comes around goes around kind of thing. Doomskull slams the White Knight into the wall of the arena. Tecton slams Doomskull into the arena. Doomskull is being slammed repeatedly into the arena, but refusing to give up, just roars in aggression. Tecton this time not feeling any fear from this. Doomskull realizes this and turns into the Golden Knight to just drop from Tecton's grip. And as he lands on the ground, he pulls out his daggers ready to stab at Tecton's underbelly, which he does. He jumps and impales both of his daggers right into Tecton's underbelly. Tecton roars in pain about this before falling onto all fours, crushing the knight underneath him. Not actually crushing, but, the knight's underneath him. He then curls up into a ball, trapping the knight inside of him, before rolling around in the ball form, round and round the arena. The knight getting disorientated but trying to maintain focus, using his daggers, just cut Tecton open, being showered in Tecton's blood. Tecton is roaring in pain over this, but still going round and round and round, trying to disorientate him. Eventually, Tecton stops, uncurls, and the knight goes flying out of the arena, going right into the wall. Tecton then makes his way up to the knight, who is very obviously winded from being slammed into a wall. He then lifts up his claw and slams it right onto the knight's legs before pulling him in. Roaring right into his face, the knight, showing no fear, lifts up one dagger, stabs it into the side of Tecton's mouth. Tecton roars in pain over this before biting down onto the Golden Knight's arm. The knight roars in pain over this as his arm's just been ripped off. Eventually, Tecton decides to revert back to the White Knight of Forton before offering a hand to the Golden Knight to help him up. As he helps the Golden Knight up, the Golden Knight is struggling to walk because his legs are broken from having his legs crushed by Tecton's weight. He goes, and he had to be lifted up by the left hand because his right arm got bit by Tecton. The Golden Knight, struggling to stand at this point, uses the White Knight as support, as the White Knight is doing the honourable thing and helping the Golden Knight get back to his chamber. For the Golden Knight just collapses, gasping for breath weakly. As the White Knight stares at this, he sees that the Golden Knight is just struggling. Before the Golden Knight has a secret plan. He pulls out one of his daggers ready to get the slip on the White Knight and stab him in the neck and end it quickly. He goes to do that. White Knight fully saw it coming, grabs onto the Golden Knight's wrist before elbowing the Golden Knight, knocking him down, making him lose grip of the dagger. The White Knight picks up the dagger, twirls it in his hands, and stabs it right into the head of the Golden Knight. The Golden Knight's body instantly goes limp, and that's it. The White Knight retrieves the daggers, picks up both of them, thinks they look great, sheaves them, as well as finding his trident, what's left of the rope, which will be rebuilt eventually, and his lance, which will also be rebuilt, before making his way back to his chamber, satisfied with this victory. So with that, Tecton and the White Knight of Forton has won this battle, and Doomskull has lost. You think Doomskull should have won? Please comment below. I think that how my words final. And Tecton is our first finalist of this tournament. So with this battle, I could kind of see how Doomskull could win, because these two beasts are easily the strongest of the Series 10 beasts. But for me, I do see Tecton winning more due to his incredible size, but his abilities just being more well-rounded, I guess. So that is why I kind of gave Tecton the victory here. But Doomskull still puts up an incredible fight. Being the most experienced knight as well, I would say helped him, but unfortunately it wasn't really enough to beat Tecton. But it was still a valiant effort, don't get me wrong. And I do think both of these beasts are incredible and definitely deserve their spots in the semi-finals. However, we have our first finalist. And with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe. Join me in the next video where we'll be doing the second battle of the semi-finals, which will be also just another interesting battle where it'll be a knight versus a genie. Until then, peace out.